Man, I am thrilled to have this guy on the podcast today, Damon Feldman, CEO and founder of Celebrity Boxing. The podcast is going to be very positive because Damon's story is one of hope. It's one of redemption. It's a testament to the fact that history is not destiny. And Damon has had the opportunity to turn his life around many times and chase a dream, which is very much part and parcel to a lot of people who work in the music industry, which, of course, I'm a huge fan of because that's a business I'm in. Damon, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Appreciate having me.
Yeah, it's pleasure's all mine, my friend. So, like I said, this is probably going to be a very positive story overall, but let's start with the coronavirus and how that's affected your business, because I'm pretty sure you and I can draw some parallels between the two of us about how the congregational aspect of our business and getting people together in one room and putting on entertainment for them. I mean, that's just all gone out the window here in the last 9 months. So tell me a little bit about how it's affected your business and how you're adapting in the face of all of that.
Yeah, sure. It has affected. I haven't done anything since March was our last event in Atlantic City. Not scheduled. I keep moving forward in the hopes that this is going to just end. And, I know there's vaccines coming out. We're shooting for April or May. But as far as the mindset goes, I've just been really just focused on, the ending result. No matter what, we're going to make this happen. Even if it takes 10 months, at least it's 10 months of promotion for the event. And I'm getting more people interested and hoping to get more sponsors and things like that, because you want to sell the person on the dream, at making them understand it's all about delivery as well, and that's what we stand for.
Right, exactly. And as it pertains to your business, I know we've found a little bit of ability to move forward in the live streaming space. So that's pay-per-view platforms, that sort of thing. I can't say we've hit anything out of the park yet, but we seem to be moving in the right direction. Have you been tempted to go that route as well, where you've set up a fight, maybe there's no audience live, but you're streaming it, and are the numbers there to make it work in your world?
I have thought about that. We just had to cancel an event in November because we were going to a small one in Atlantic City where we were only going to have 150 people. But then it resorts back. How about if one person gets coronavirus in that crowd? Then it's like Celebrity Boxing did a fight and one person, and this person got corona, and God forbid. And I had corona. I just got over it. It was really interesting. Thank God I was able to get by this. But it's just I did think about that, and it all depends on who's fighting who. If I have two good enough names, then I can do that where it would make sense, and that might happen with a couple of fights I'm doing. But right now we're planning on pushing it to when this corona is done. I don't want to take a chance, really.
Right. So for people who don't know, you're actually a former pro fighter yourself. You were a middleweight at the time. You had 9 pro fights. You're undefeated. You had an injury outside the ring that prohibited you from getting back in the ring and continuing your fight career. And then you pivoted into another aspect of the fight game as a promoter, which is really interesting. But you stay in the gym. You keep yourself in good shape. You're a relatively young guy. How did coronavirus affect you, and how long did it hang with you?
Yeah, well, you know what? I got it a few weeks ago, and I'm done now. I tested negative for it now, so thank God. And it wasn't with me much. It was, I did feel I was like, man, I woke up. I was like, because I trained all the time. I was like, what's wrong with me? I aches and all, and I just didn't know what was going on. Then I tested. They did say I was coronavirus, positive. And I just waited it out, you know what I mean? And just I kept working out, not in a gym, but just sweating it out, kept sweating, you know what I mean? And I got it over. I took, it's funny, I lived on this stuff for a while, the ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Zinc is unbelievable. Zinc will really help you with it. And it's a lot of immune system. And also GSH Plus, man. You got to try this stuff out. GSH Plus is builds your immune system. It's just great for energy. It's really helped me out.
GSH Plus. Do you know what that stands for? What the acronym for that is?
is. It's a glutathione. I gotta
Glutathione.
show this to you.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. I'm worth it. And it's just the nutrients in it. It just, and they're out of Canada, the company, and they just do a phenomenal job. It's really doing well.
I'm not familiar with it, but I do take glutathione shots on a regular basis. It cleans out the liver, which gives your body the ability to fortify itself. I also get the intravenous vitamin shots every now and then. So you get a shot of vitamin C, vitamin B, and I'm a big proponent of it. When I was on the road traveling with our business in the insanity, it was like 150 to 200 days a year. And so I started looking up and integrating health hacks into my routine just so that I could stay healthy. Because the last thing I want to do is be out on the road with one of my acts and give somebody a cold, and this was before all the coronavirus craziness, right?
Yeah.
But in Philly right now, which sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. No, you have to live it too, man. You have to stay in shape. I know you do. People have to understand. It's not just, you throw events, who cares? No big deal. Oh, you could do this. You got to live it.
Yes.
You have to live to stay in shape. You got to be a notch ahead of everyone to get to where you want to be. And it's not like you're trying to screw anyone over or be better than someone. It's just, it's the recipe what you have to do to make it to where you want to be.
That's an interesting point you bring up. Like, I do think that if you're going to espouse a perspective, like I think it's really important for artists to take care of their physical health, because I think a lot of times their physiological health affects their mental health, and artists often suffer from a disproportionate level of suffering in terms of mental health. So it's like, okay, well, maybe you need medication, and maybe that's real, but maybe we should start with your diet and exercise. So I try and live that, and then I can speak to it a bit more competently and frankly with a bit more credibility. But it's funny you talk about the remaining in shape, because you probably get this from some of your friends. Sometimes I hear the whole every time I watch you work out, it makes me feel bad. Does anyone ever say that to you? Or, I see you're in good shape, man. It makes me feel bad about what I'm doing. And I've been thinking recently that, I understand that perspective, because I've done it myself, where I'll look up somebody on Instagram and I'll go, man, fuck that guy. I wish I had his metabolism. Yeah. But really what it is it's my own potential speaking to me. It's the better version of myself that exists within me that doesn't want to confront the fact that I'm not necessarily giving 100% in the gym or whatever aspect of life we're comparing ourselves to others in. And that's a really interesting emotional growth place to get to, where you realize, it's easy to go, fuck that guy. But it's really hard to go, I wonder what that guy's doing that I'm not. And I wonder if I made some adjustments in my life and did some self-examination, if I could be better. And anyway, I know that's off on a little bit of a side tangent, but I'm sure you experience that quite a bit, where people probably look at you and they look at your physique and they go, Jesus, man, what are you doing? Man, I wish I could do that, but you've got good metabolism, or it must be because of this, this, or this. And, a lot of times it just boils down to the secret in life, which is hard work, dedication.
No, definitely. And you're a guy that thinks hard work. I'm a guy that thinks smart. This is how smart work you could do, And as far as we get into working out, like athletes and celebrities, because we both work with celebrities, you work with that, the singers, they have a certain lifestyle, but if they live a lifestyle, you can live that lifestyle, but you have to stay in shape. No matter what, anybody in life has to understand, fitness is a part of life. You have a woman, you want to make sure she looks good, she stays in shape. It's just a way of thinking. Not everyone thinks this, but I think that way, and it makes me a step above everyone. Not being arrogant, but I want to not be a step above everyone, but I want to be a step above for myself. If I'm tired, I say I'll work out tomorrow. I say, no, I got to do it now, no matter what. I end up feeling better. You know what I mean? And you just got to push yourself in life, everything. No matter what, no matter where you get in life, you could be a superstar singer. You get to a certain level, and you don't take care of yourself, you're going to fall right down on your face. So.
Right. And it's not only just about appearances, it's just about overall health and that feeling of accomplishment, right? Like I think discipline and self-imposed discipline really unlocks a lot of doors in us and makes us realize like there are other things in our life where we could integrate working smart, as you say, or working hard and smart in order to maybe live a life that is of a higher degree of potential than we've been living it so far. But one thing I wanted to chat with you about is how do you create these matchups in the celebrity boxing world? Because it's always so interesting to me. Sometimes it seems like it's a legitimate beef between two celebrities, and sometimes it seems like you're out there sort of procuring matchups in the name of selling tickets and obviously doing good business. So generally, how do these things come together? How do these big fights come together in your world?
Well, basically right now, I went from working with a lot of tabloid people that was interesting, and it wasn't doing anything for my product. And I started working with better, like the Bachelors, the Real Housewives. Now I got this Aaron Carter, which is up your world, stepping in the ring. Great guy, and he's really interested in doing this, and he wants to fight Justin Bieber, but I don't think that's going to. Maybe you can help me make that happen, but not Bieber. But
well, didn't Bieber call out Tom Cruise? Didn't Justin Bieber call out Tom Cruise like a year ago?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that wouldn't have been a good idea for Bieber, but Bieber can box though. He trained with Floyd Mayweather. He has some pretty full hands, and so does Carter. But getting to that point where it's basically I just come up with a niche, you know what I mean, and I have some good people behind me to help me out. Great, I have phenomenal people, and I'm able to put it together where it gets the excitement of sponsors, people on board, and just get the the fire rolling there with it, and people get interested. Like I have this fight with Joe Judice from Real Housewives taking on Jennifer Lopez's ex-husband. The referee is James Buster Douglas, who knocked out Mike Tyson.
Of course.
When I say that, I see you smile, man. I say it to other people.
I love the story of Buster Douglas, man. Like the biggest upset in boxing history.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, he's an unbelievable guy. When I say that to someone, they're looking at me saying, what did you say? Like, did you really just say James Buster Douglas, the referee with Jennifer Lopez's ex and the guy from Real Housewives? Like, no one believes it, but guess what? It's a package deal, and I have this really unique. I put people from all different worlds in the same ring together, even if he's a referee. And it's not going in to hurt each other. They're going to battle it out, but it's just a show. You know what I mean? It's people what they want to see. It's sort of like watching reality TV. Now they're watching it as a celebrity boxing match.
Right, and they're using headgear and 24-ounce gloves, or it's not 8-ounce gloves.
Yeah,
what is it that you guys?
ounce, yeah.
Okay, 23-ounce gloves. Yeah, so yeah. You got to get hit pretty directly to cause too much damage in that world, right? Have you ever encountered a celebrity with your background, being around real fighters, and your dad? I want to talk about him, a Hall of Fame level trainer. Have you ever encountered a celebrity that you thought, wow, this guy could actually, or gal, could actually have the goods to be a competitive fighter if they really dedicated themselves to it?
Oh, yeah, there were several guys they all have some type of talent in boxing, we should say, or some type of skill where I don't think they would do it because, they're looking at it like a fast payday for themselves, get their name back out there. Bonaduce had a little bit of skill. Jose Canseco
Danny Bonaduce?
Danny Bonaduce.
Jose Canseco, who is just a tremendous athlete.
Yeah, no, he could throw punches a little stick at him as a football player. Screech had some hands. A lot of them do have a little bit of skill. Jeremy Jackson from Baywatch, he was great. He TKO'd Coolio on one of my cards. Some of the girls, Octo-Mom was phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like she had some great hands and she was great conditioned. Yeah, so they all, if they dedicated themselves, they probably could do something. It's all about dedication.
Yeah, I remember back in the late 80s, early 90s, Mickey Rourke was one of the first sort of like celebrity boxers who was actually taking pro fights, but had a very
Yeah.
active career. And you know, a lot of the sports writers at the time would pan him and make fun of him, but you know, that's typical for it's typical for critics. They sort of sit on the sidelines. They wouldn't want to get in the ring themselves, but they'll shit all over somebody who has the courage to do it. But it looked like Mickey
Exactly.
Rourke actually had some hands and some conditioning, and I know you never had a chance to work with him when he was a pro, but to me, I always felt like if that guy had just gone at it full bore, he might have had a real opportunity to do something significant in that world.
Maybe, yeah, he had a little bit of hands. And I talked to him about 3 months ago. It's weird. I was trying to get him to be a referee, and I had his number, and we were talking. And then he said, "Yeah, well, get in touch with me after this." And I did. And he said, "Nah, I'm too busy. I can't do anything." Like, he really, really screwed me. You know what I mean? But it's funny to deal with these type guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would imagine that the personalities, especially when you're dealing with celebrities who have sort of had their 15 minutes of fame, and that's why you're the 16-minute man. That's the title of the book that you wrote. You know,
Yeah.
You are giving these individuals who have experienced 15 minutes of fame their 16th minute of fame through celebrity boxing, which I think is brilliant, by the way. But you're dealing with people a lot of times who are a little broken. You know, they're on the way down. They've maybe experienced already the zenith of celebrity or fame and fortune that they're going to have in their life. And I would imagine that you're dealing with a lot of people who are quite flaky.
Oh, yeah, very, very, very much so. And, you know, they just can't help themselves. Yeah, I think, you know, you deal with these certain people. You know, you think, at first I went in, I was like, wow, man, I'm friends with Bonaduce. I'm friends with you. And I was like, man, wake up. This is business. Forget, you're not friends. You know, it's business. You know what I mean? And I wasn't thinking. I was like, yeah, man, I'm hanging with Bonaduce. That was at the start level, you know, like Vanilla Ice, Todd Bridges, all those guys. But I wasn't friends with them. It was business. You know what I mean? I was their target to get their next level of fame or, you know, make a nice payday. And that was it. So I didn't realize what that really was.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I've found the same thing in our world a little bit. Like I've always said that an artist's loyalty to you is directly proportionate with how effective you are in their career, you know, and how much you pad their pocketbook. And I understand that, by the way. I don't want an artist to continue to be represented by me or to work with me simply because they like me. That's always a nice bonus. But if you're delivering for them and you're crushing it for them, and you know, maybe in other iterations of their career they've been surrounded around people that they couldn't trust or who didn't do the best job for them, well, then you can really shine, right? So you must have had some situations like that where, you know, you have developed meaningful friendships because you have given these people something else to focus on, something else to get excited for, something else to get prepared for, which is really so important in life, right? I would imagine that you've had times where you really have touched people, and let's talk a little bit about that. Have you had situations where, you know, you've built these great bonds because you put people into situations that were slightly uncomfortable and then delivered and made them a bunch of money, and suddenly they're pretty happy to take your phone calls and hang out with you?
Definitely. I mean, it would, you know, a lot of guys, it's all about delivery. Anything's about delivery. You know, you can talk a great game. If you don't deliver at the end of the day, you know, that shows what you are. So it, you know, basically it just, and there's a few guys you can say, oh, that guy's a dick. I don't ever want to see that fucking guy again. He's a jerk off. You know, excuse my language, but that's just the way it goes, you know. But otherwise, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? The bottom line is I gave you a shot, and I delivered on it. And if you didn't deliver, or you don't like me because I did business the way I liked it to do my business, it's not your business. And that's life. That's all there is to it. So I've dealt with hundreds of celebrities, you know. Been on Howard Stern, I don't know how many times, you know what I mean? Like, all this stuff has built my brand up. Yeah, I'm looking for that big payday still too. I haven't cashed in on my company or business yet. You know what I mean? It's basically been making a living. Sure, so it sounds great, celebrity boxing, but I haven't cashed in on seven-figure payday yet. You know what I mean?
No.
And
Well, you're still building a
step by
business.
step. 100%. And the thing is, I'm having a lot of fun with it. If I wasn't having fun with it, I wouldn't be in it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be happy in life. I want to enjoy something. I want something that I'm creating for my children right now, because no matter what, somewhere in my life, my movie gets made. Somewhere in my life, the book takes off. Somewhere in life, I do one or two big celebrity fights, and I take care of my kids. My thing's all about my kids now. I'm not. I love what I do. I have a lot of passion in what I do, and it's so interesting what I do, because I love doing the press conference, the two celebs staring each other down, and they end up getting in the ring and doing a fun match with each other, and then it's like a history thing, and you keep going, and you're hoping it keeps building better and better. But yeah, everything I do now is just for my children. Like, that's all I'm interested in, and celebrity boxing, it's going to be a little fun thing for them if they want to continue to do it down the road.
And you have two kids. You have a daughter who's 18, a son who's 13. There's no better motivation in life than wanting to deliver for your kids, for sure. But in terms of how you got started, you've been at this for a while. So you decided, okay, my injury is not going to allow me to get back in the ring and fight myself. So then you found a way to blend a passion for the fight game and work with celebrities. But really, you're the only guy doing this at a significant level. How did you get this started? Like, what was the first sort of time that the light bulb went on in your head and you went, son of a bitch, I could put two celebrities in the ring, have them fight, promote that, make some money, but also create a brand in a space where no one else is. One of my favorite sayings is, opportunity lurks where responsibility has been abdicated.
Right.
That's exactly what you did. You went out and you sought out the opportunity because nobody was in that space. So how'd you get started?
Well, exactly. And I had a niche, right? And I was like doing fights, so bored, doing the toughest man in the area. It was doing well, but I said celebrity boxing. I took the radio DJ from Philadelphia and an NBC weatherman. And I approached both of them. I said, what do you guys think about a fun little celebrity match in the area? It got unbelievable exposure in the area, just in the area. I said, man, this is really cool.
So this is in Philly at the time.
Philly at the time. It's like 20 years ago, like 18 years. I forget what it was, 18 years ago. And John Blaris, the weatherman, took on Diego Ramos, Q102 Radio, and everybody was talking about it. The radio station got behind it, NBC got behind it, and training for it, and we donated like something to Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and it was really cool because we brought some of the kids out there, and it was just, like, man, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. It's weird, like the press conference, and it was just hype, and it was like, I was a young guy, 20-some years old, and I was like, man, this is what I want to do, and it just took off, and I was able to do a few more matches. Like, I would match Larry Holmes, the former world heavyweight champ, and Art Hopkins. I talked them into doing exhibitions, and they were celebrity exhibitions. Then I worked a deal out with Fox to do celebrity boxing, and I just took a sort of a side road and worked the deal out, and they did their thing, and I created, I franchised, and I also trademarked the name Celebrity Boxing. So I'd like to ultimately, hopefully sell it down the road, or basically, have it set up for my children.
Right.
But yeah, man, it was just, and it just kept going, and like Don King called me a few years later after the celebrity fighting on partner, like, can you do anything with Tonya Harding? Because they couldn't do anything with her. They approached her. Eric Botcher, the matchmaker, contacted me. I was like, yeah, man, I've already worked with Tonya. Let's do it. So we put it together, and she sold the event out in a snowstorm. Then Bonaduce started coming up. I approached him again, and then it just started going, man. Like, Rodney King fought for me. Rodney King, yes, Rodney King stepped in the ring. He's 4-0 in celebrity boxing. And then it just kept going. It was started becoming a platform, but I wasn't taking it serious. I was like, this is just a fun thing, like sort of like it was like therapy to me because my mom was a quadriplegic in a wheelchair when I was a young guy. He got hurt. Like I lived with beautiful families. My dad raised me. I was sort of a lost person when I was younger. Me and my brother, and who's also the creator of bare knuckle fighting championships. He'd be a cool guy to have on. But he, so like, it was just therapy to me. Then I finally started taking it serious the last few years. So it took my ass a while to wake up and really understand the structure. And thanks to, I have a business manager, Mark Shiroki, Jackie Clark, my attorney, just the people involved is awesome, And, I know we both mutually know Frank Stallone. Frank's a great guy. He's been like funny story is like years ago, my dad was a boxing trainer and we were in Atlantic City and my dad goes, "Hey, that's Frank, come here." My dad, no, it's like over. My dad goes, "Throw a boxing combination, maybe he'll get you in Rocky." He goes, so I was like, in my hand. Frank goes, "Oh man, he has good hands." And this is back in like, I don't know, early 80s. I don't know what it was. And my or 90s, whatever it was. And that was the first time meeting Frank. It was funny. Then I ended up always stayed in touch with him. I brought him out for certain appearances in the boxing world, and he ended up being a commentator. And that's how I was able to get guys like that on board. It was just a cool road, man. It was weird. Then hit brick walls, drinking, stupid mistakes. Spent 13 months in jail, stupidest mistake in my life. It was going through depression, drinking, but I was able to write my book in jail and really change my life around. I've had a drink in 4 years and never will again. So that's where I'm at.
You spent 13 months in jail. That's where you wrote your book. But your backstory is a difficult and tragic one. Your mom, I believe, was assaulted, correct, and ended up a quadriplegic. And so your dad, who's training at the time, I believe he trained 4 world champions. He's probably gone all the time. 6 world champions. So, you're 5 years old. You and your brother are in many ways sort of on your own. You've got different fighters living at the house, Frank the Animal Fletcher. It's definitely a tough life growing up. And then you were able to pursue this passion. You really had a desire to bring the belt home for your dad as a fighter yourself. And then, that went off the rails because of an injury outside the ring, as we talked about earlier. And now here you are all these years later after what you suffered in your childhood, what you dealt with in terms of paying your debt to society for the crime committed, and then you've found a way to make the best of it, which I just think is like ultimately in life, nobody's perfect, right? We like to pretend they are, especially on Twitter and social media, but nobody's perfect. Sure. But what we can do is we can take what we have and we can build ourselves towards a better tomorrow by doing what you did, which was pursue a passion, have fun, figure it out as you go, and then eventually you might stumble or work yourself into something that ends up being a legacy project for you, which is I think, your story is very specific, but I think the idea that people take the parts of their lives that are broken and they assemble them together to make the absolute best life they can. I think that's a story everybody can relate to.
Well, everybody wants to have a perfect life. There is no perfect life. And if I didn't do everything and been through everything I've been through, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, because it made me want to fight harder and harder to be better and better. And I'm not even close to where I want to be yet. You know what I mean? And just, being able to wake up, being able to look at my kids, if I could do it every day, it would be phenomenal. They look at their moms and being able to just kiss my kids and hug them, and I want them to tell me, I kiss them so much, they're like, stop, Mom. I love my kids with all my heart. Be able to do that, it made me be a great father. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I'm the greatest, but I know I'm there for them, and I know I'm a support factor where because of who I am, not being arrogant, what I've done, being a fighter, my career. I'm open doors up. I'm able to help them out, and that's the main thing. Is like it was about what I do, sure, for me, but now it's just about me getting by and succeeding in life. But really, it's all for my children. Like all I'm interested in is seeing them grow up happy, and that'll be the biggest reward ever. It's like me getting a shot at the world title, me, all this stuff I've done. If my movie comes out, if I get all these breaks, it's a phenomenal. But, it comes down to I'm able to look at my children and hopefully a legacy was, be built for them, and hopefully they love me with all their heart too.
Right. And tell us a little bit about your dad. What kind of a guy was he? Obviously highly disciplined, obviously a no bullshit kind of guy. You just can't be any other way if you're going to train fighters. What kind of an effect and influence did he have on you growing up?
Oh, big time. Big influence. My dad was a guy, no tolerance. It was his way or no way. It didn't matter what you said, and he was right about everything. And, but, it was tough sometimes, because sometimes I felt like I was living my career through him, but it was also the fact that he was a guy that made me know that I can't quit. Like, no matter what, I can't quit. Was no quitting. I didn't know what the word was. To this day, when you say quit, I can't, like, anything. I can't quit. I don't know what it is. Even if it's making sure my daughter gets her job and she's working now, thank God, she's working. I have to make sure she got it done. And no matter how many times we fought and she fought with me, I got it done. She's working now. So I don't know what the word quit means.
Well, you've been able to quit some bad things. You've been able to quit the things that haven't served you. I think one of the most interesting things about people who make monumental changes in their lives is if you ask them about their story and you dial it back to one particular moment, everybody has a moment when they made a massive change in their life, when they went, enough. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm finished drinking. I'm finished, drugs, whatever it is. Like, there's some moment in everybody's life where they hit a threshold point where they just decide they're going to turn their life around. What was that for you?
Well, I was in jail, man. I was in jail, and I was like, I used to feed my dad every day. He was dying of Alzheimer's disease, and I was broken down. I was a broken guy at that time. I was like, man, I'm really broke. I was like, looking in the mirror, crying, like, tears would start coming down. And what's wrong with you? Like, feeling sorry for myself. I couldn't comprehend what was going on in my life. I was like, I was really broken. Like, it all hit me all at once, and it was all hit me. It would have my mom and everything. It just hit me all at once, and just. It was a tough time, man. I resorted to drinking. That's why I got in a stupid situation.
And we should talk about that quickly, just so that we're transparent with the viewers and listeners. You were convicted of assault, correct?
Assault, yes.
Right. So you obviously regret that, but that ended up, as painful as that must have been for you and for the victim, that was a catalyst for you to say, fuck it, enough of living this way, enough of feeling sorry for myself. It's time to turn things around.
Well, in jail, and I love telling the story, man. I mean, people don't have to be embarrassed by going to jail, because, to be honest with you, if I didn't go to jail, I wouldn't be succeeding right now where I'm at, because I would continue to probably do the same thing, drink. I might have been dead. I don't know.
Did you have suicidal thoughts, Damon?
Never. I never did. But I did lose myself. I was broken down, upset. But I did when I was in jail, and all I needed was my ex-wife sent me a picture of my son at his championship game, and I made a promise. I said, God, I swear, give me this hand so we get out of this. I will never drink again. I never have, man. I knew that it was either, you have to stop. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I needed to go to jail. This is the weirdest thing, Jim. And you know me a little, just talking with each other. This is the way I am, man. I want the best for people. There's nothing more in my life that I love to do is see people succeed, and I get emotional because it's just amazing. But jail really made me succeed. Like, it made me understand where it was like I wasn't beaten up or anything like that, but it was like, you gotta change. You gotta stop drinking, man. And like, you gotta wake up and know that you can't do this. I had 2 DUIs in my life and drinking. I wasn't an alcoholic, but I would drink to the point where I was out like there was no tomorrow. And I just didn't understand it was a problem. I just didn't understand it until I went to jail. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't talked about the jail thing because I sort of like, it's behind me now. I want to keep it behind me, and I want to do better things. I do a lot. I love helping people. I'm doing that, but the jail thing, yes, man. The jail was. Do I recommend jail for people that are? Yes. I hate to say it, man. Yes, man. Your ass needs to go to jail. You need to go to understand that listen, I never want to hear the word commissary again. You know what I mean? Like, being able to like eat what you want, drink what you want, freedom. People don't understand what freedom is. Like, I wasn't a jail. I never went to jail before. That was the first. I didn't know what the hell was going on. When I woke up in jail, there was no one else around. I was in an empty cell block. It was weird, and it was like I had no. I thought because I have connections. I was like, I'll be out. And they didn't want to hear it. I was there. I spent that time in there, but I was able to like really fix my life up. You know what I mean? And
well, I mean, for some people, jail obviously seems drastic, but the utility of that for people who don't end up in a situation that's quite that drastic is taking the time to figure out what kind of a life you want to build moving forward and being void of all distractions, which you do have in jail. You have that privilege of, you can't go out boozing. That ain't going to happen. You start to really appreciate your freedom, especially when you get back out. Things that you've taken for granted, you realize in that space that you have taken them for granted. And then that can give you a new outlook on life. Which is incredibly powerful. You talk about like Mike Tyson credits his time in jail as something that was incredibly cathartic and therapeutic for him. And, he's another example similar to yours of a guy who, had difficult things go on in his life early on. A lot of it obviously without any of his control and beyond his control. And, look at him today. He's back in the ring, which I want to talk to you about Tyson and Jones and see what you think about that. What did you think of the fight the other night, by the way?
Yeah, man, it was awesome to see them. Like, you could tell Mike doesn't have it anymore. But, I mean, listen, it was cool to see two guys being able to make a nice payday at that age, you know what I mean? And they went out and they did their thing, man. How can you knock Mike Tyson, man? Like, there's a guy, it's a complete redemption story, man. And like, it's sort of, he was lost. He doesn't have a bad heart. That guy's a great hearted guy. He wants to help people. You can see the way he loves the pigeons, you know what I mean? Like, he's just an amazing guy, man. I mean, I don't know him, never met him, but listen, his story just how can you not get motivated by Mike Tyson's story?
Do you think he's going to start a movement in the boxing world where guys who have retired and are still in good condition and still have all their mental faculties will consider coming back and having an exhibition fight or two? I mean, I know this isn't new. This has been happening for decades, but Tyson really set the bar, and with over 1 million pay-per-view buys, showed people like there's real business to be done here if you've got the brand.
Sure. No, and I think it's phenomenal. But that's where celebrity boxing comes in, because this is really celebrity boxing. They really, my opinion, they shouldn't be fighting with no gear. They should be fighting with bigger gloves. It just keeps it safe, but only people don't give a shit. They're more interested in seeing these two guys in the ring. build-up, the stare down the press conference and the fight.
Right. I felt like, I ordered the fight. I watched it. I felt like there were glimpses of greatness by both fighters. I felt like Jones fought pretty well from the outside sometimes. I mean, he wasn't as fleet-footed as he was in his prime, obviously. And Tyson still threw punches with some mean intentions, man. And he's so powerful. I don't blame Jones for tying him up and not wanting to engage.
100%. Thanks a lot, Jim. Appreciate having me.
Thanks for taking the time today.